So this is what reCharka does. If you saw it properly, we are first.
Let us see how this
collecting
turns into this.
So we are collecting all the plastic waste from waste bin, washing and sanitizing them, sorting them into different colors. The original colors are retained. We are not dyeing into the plastic waste. It is taken into different colors that it has, and then we weave it using a reCharka and a hand to make a fabric. The original color is retained. If it's a yellow bag, the yellow wrapper, the same color will be retained to make the final fabric and the final product. This work is happening in a tribal village. We have 2 units. One is in a village in Dadra Nagar Haveli. That is a union territory on the border of Maharashtra and Gujarat. And the other workshop that we have is in Pune, where our headquarters is based. And that's where the tailoring of the product happens. So this is our work at reCharka. And the whole idea is to enable livelihoods for the people whom we work with, but most importantly, making people understand the huge impact of plastic waste on this planet. So obviously by upcycling a little bit of plastic that we can, it's not a lot because it's a manual process, we are upcycling some bit of plastic waste. But through that project, we are trying to gather more and more people to understand that let's not create more waste. There is waste already, and this waste is going to last us for a lifetime and more, because a plastic bag once created or a wrapper once created is going to last on this planet for 1,000 years. So why use it in the first place? So that is the message which we are trying to give through reCharka to the population of this planet, not just this country, but this planet. So what all types of plastic we use? So if you see here, there is a plastic bag, which is banned ideally. I don't know in Assam if it's banned or it's still in use. Here it is banned, but it is still in use. The other wrappers are these, which we use at home. This is a bread packet. This is a Balaji wafer packets. So similarly, Lay's, Kurkure, all of those things are also used. And this is a glittery gift wrapper. So we think that the gifts look beautiful when the wrapper like this is wrapped on the gift, but unfortunately, this is going to last on this planet for 1,000 years. So the other very interesting material that we also upcycle is this. Most of you know obviously what this is, but a few of us have grown up. So I grew up listening to music and watching videos from these cassettes. So once the technology became obsolete, all this went into the waste. And these are magnetic tapes. So obviously, if they are, thrown away, they are going to either not degrade, just stay there, or it might even cause some harmful effects to the groundwater, to life around it, etc., etc. So instead of throwing it away, if we upcycle it and make it into some product which can be reused for multiple years, that is what we are trying to do. And the products that you saw in the video also, for example, a bag that I have in my hand, is all made from wrappers of plastic bags and gift wrappers. And the bag that I have here in my hand is a laptop bag, is made up of all your Tide, Maggie, bread, around 40 different wrappers go into making a bag like this. So that's the work that we do. And, the whole idea why this all started, like I was rightly introduced by Jyotishna, is that, while I was a kid, while I was about 14, 15 years old, somewhere in the textbooks of our, I think it was in the 7th or 8th standard, somewhere in the CBSE place, like I grew up in Dadra Nagar Haveli itself. I was in a central board school there. And somewhere in the textbooks, I had read that waste is of 2 types, degradable and non-degradable. And then the non-degradable waste is going to stay on this planet for many years. And the first question came to my mind was, if it's going to stay on this planet for so many years, then why are we creating that waste? Why are we using those products which are eventually going to get into the waste stream and stay on this planet for so many years? The population problem was obviously there at that time also. And today it's obviously gotten even more difficult to manage. But creating so much of waste by so much of population is the biggest problem. So that is what I felt at that time also, that why aren't we doing something about it? So at that time, I was in 8th standard, and I gave a presentation in a science seminar of our, at the state level, and it was about solid waste management. We didn't have so many, we didn't have internet at that time, right? Or there was a little bit of internet, but it was super slow. It was very difficult to find information on the internet. So we had to research from textbooks of all kinds, government organizations. We went and interviewed. It was just me and my teacher. We went and interviewed all different government organizations, tried to understand what was happening with all of that waste. And we realized that it was getting dumped. Recycling wasn't happening of some of the waste, most of the waste, only some waste was getting recycled. So, that thing stayed in my mind since then. And when I grew up, I became an IT engineer by profession, because I thought that this is just something that I should do as a conscious citizen. So I kept, my own use of disposable thermocol at its lowest. I kept telling it to my family and friends, because even now, some of my, all my friends from school and my relatives, everybody remembers how I used to scold them for using a plastic bag or bringing a plastic bag home from grocery store. And today they can adhere to what I'm talking about. They can totally relate to what I'm talking about. And the best part was, after studying engineering and working in the IT sector, I was I had decided that I don't want to do that anymore. And I also started to realize at that time that this was a possible career option for me, which I didn't know when I was taking up an engineering career. And I decided to step down. I decided to quit my job, which I was working in Pune at that time in an IT company. So I decided to quit the job, and I took up a master's degree in the US just to explore some greener pastures, to think more from a developed country's point of view of how waste is managed. And when I went to the US, I saw something completely different. I saw that waste was actually getting dumped most, nicely under the carpet in large landfills. Recycling was happening, but not at that scale that I had imagined. And social work was also happening, but I always felt that India needed more of social work. And though I studied there, I worked there for a few years, I always had this pull of coming back to India. Like your founder, I also decided to come back to India and start something of my own. And during that same time, around 2013, I was traveling in the Himalayas, and I got caught in one of the most terrible landslides, which was an environmental disaster in Kedarnath. And I was in the Himachal side of the mountains, and I also was stuck, rescued by helicopter after 4 days of staying in a small village. But during that whole period, I realized that this is what I want to work on. And the whole development of India was getting skewed towards social development only, and environment was totally getting neglected. So the large hydroelectric power projects that have come up in the Himalayas are all for a good cause, that electricity will be provided to people, okay, and to industries and to businesses and to households. But what about the environmental impact of that on the Himalayas? Because Himalayas is a very delicate ecosystem. So somewhere the social development was not going hand in hand, is not going hand in hand with environment. And I felt that was something that I wanted to work on. And I volunteered there for a few months with an NGO, tried to understand, the whole landscape of how this kind of work is happening all around the country. And then I took up a decision of starting my own organization. It was a consultancy at that point in time, which helped me understand more aspects of the eco-social elements that I wanted to eventually work on. And then in 2015, finally, I started this project of upcycling plastic waste, because it was a long lost passion that I wanted to work on, is to make people understand that plastic shouldn't be used. But just telling that is not going to help. So why not do something with it? Show it to people that this is what we are doing, but let's cut down the plastic waste that is making this product finally. Because it's okay if we run out of plastic. It's okay our work of upcycling plastic closes down. The company is not going to close down, because the company has much more to it than just creating products. And all our entire team of about 30 people now are all geared towards this same activity, and a lot more volunteers are also associated with us. So we are a team now, and we are trying to move towards creating an eco-social planet for all of us, not just selfishly for myself, but all of us, because only then can we sustain, which all of us know that we have very little time. We can't just keep going on and on and on with our current practices. So that's what I wanted to talk about, Jyotishna. I want to open up the the audience to ask questions, because I don't want to have it only a one-sided conversation. So if there are any questions, let's take them now.
Sure, ma'am. First of all, I have a question, ma'am. Ma'am, those pillow behind you, those are also made from plastics?
Yeah. It is made from waste plastic, pillow covers, and we do a lot of home decor and handicrafts, totes, bags, accessories, interesting things. You can actually go up and check out our website also to see what all we do.
And how can we go and purchase all those items? Is there any website or any page?
There is a website. How should I put it here? Should I put it in chat? And even you can tag us on Facebook, because you're going to post this live, right? So tag us on Facebook. We have a lot of followers ourselves on Facebook and on Instagram. So that will really help.
So, ma'am, as we have known that because of reCharka, many of women are also getting employed. So, ma'am, how do you see those women before coming to reCharka and now what they are doing? What is the difference between their lives or their conditions?
See, these women whom we work with are located in a remote village in Dadra Nagar Haveli. They're tribal women, and they used to live. See, most of the times the villagers live a very nice life than us urban dwellers. They have their own farm, they have their own cattle, and they have their own little kitchen garden. So they're quite happy. They're not as dissatisfied as we are to go earn. So they are happy, first of all. But yes, everybody needs some bit of extra livelihood, because their livelihoods are dependent only on rain-fed agriculture, which happens only 4 to 5 months in a year. So rest of the time, somebody from their home or they themselves had to leave the village to go and work in the city. So instead now they have got work in their own village. They don't have to travel. They stay there, they work there, they get paid. They are full-time salaried employees. We don't pay them just based on the work that they do. So they have a stable job. They know that they can totally depend on us for their livelihoods. So there is some stability. Other than that, because of the work that they're doing, they're also feeling proud that they are doing a little bit to conserve the environment and make the planet a better place for their future generations to live on. So overall, they are quite happy and quite excited.